Hey, what's up, guys? Here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we do here is fire. You guys know the drill. Thanks for coming on my show for you guys today. I'm here with my friend Tom Phillips. Thanks, Tom, for coming on the podcast. I appreciate your time.
Not a problem. Tom Phillips here, friends of Zach and the family. Look forward to answering questions and doing whatever he needs me to do.
All right, let's get right into it, guys. So we got two segments here on the Fire Sports Pod show. First, we're going to be going over the NFL playoff wildcard weekend. We had some great matchups coming up this weekend, and we're going to be doing. If you guys don't remember, earlier in the year, before the NFL season started, me and Matt were doing, my co-host Matt, we're doing predictions on NFL records. So we're going to go over what those records were in the season that just ended and what were our records when we predicted them. And then our second segment, we're going to go over some sports stories over the last week or so. There was a lot of firing of head coaching, a lot of moving around, big news from college football. We're going to get to you guys that on the audio show on the Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But let's get right to it, Tom. So first up, with the NFL playoff wildcard weekend, we have some big matchups. First, Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, you have the Cleveland Browns taking on the Houston Texans. So with Houston being a rookie quarterback and C.J. Stroud, and Cleveland having that veteran-type defense with Myles Garrett, but have a veteran-type leader in Joe Flacco, do you think it's going to be a Cleveland Browns showcase, or you think C.J. Stroud has enough or should I say, like enough energy and players around him to get him past that Cleveland Browns defense?
Well, I haven't seen a whole lot of Texans game other than excerpts on ESPN, but from what I'm seeing, nobody expected them to even do anything near what they did this year. And that kid, from what I've watched, he's got some poise and some class to him. So it depends. You're going up against that Cleveland defense, but the Texans have held their own and got in the playoffs this year. And to my knowledge, again, you probably know a lot more about it than I do, but not a whole lot of people anticipated them getting this far. They have a new coach,
Yeah,
and
he's a great
everything
coach.
else. And yeah, I hope it's a good game.
I do too. I think the Cleveland's defense is definitely going to rattle him in the beginning of the game because that's what that veteran type defense and their coach is going to do.
Yep.
But C.J. Stroud has the poise, like you said, and I think the leadership. He has the whole Houston, and this is a home game. I believe it's a home game for the Houston since they won their division. So it's a home game in Houston against Cleveland. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm going with C.J. Stroud. And Texans, C.J. Stroud was an alumni of the Ohio State Buckeyes. He was my quarterback.
Right.
So I'm definitely going with him. I like Cleveland, so I don't really care who wins, but I like C.J. Stroud. And D'Amico Ryan, if he does not win Coach of the Year, I'm going to be pretty upset. Because
Yeah, I don't
I
see
think
anybody else doing what he did this year.
they're
Nothing.
saying Kyle Shanahan, but I'm like, bro, he has every player in the book. You got George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, Nick Bosa,
The running back, what's his name? I can't.
Christian McCaffrey,
Yeah,
Brock
exactly.
Purdy. You got all these guys. How can he become coach of the year if he has all those
Yeah,
guys?
I agree with you there. There's no question what the new coach has done here in Texas and a whole new regime. I mean, to go in the
Yeah,
first year and not be expected to make the playoffs and do as well as they did, pretty impressive.
yeah, I agree. So I'm picking Houston. Who are you picking for this game?
Honestly, I just hope it's a good game. It's nice seeing an elder guy like Joe Flacco come in there and ignite that. But you got to think about it. You got that younger quarterback as opposed to an older quarterback, and the Texans' defense isn't that bad either. So you know they get running Flacco around. It might be a big difference as opposed to what he's used to.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens. But are you basically neutral? You just want a good game. You're not going to pick
I'm
sides.
neutral. I just want some parity and to watch a good game. Honestly, there's neither one of those teams that are a favorite. I know a lot of people that are Browns fans for a million years. So, again, it would be nice to see them turn it around. But everything that the Texans' new coach and the quarterback has done this year, and to see the team do as well as they have, I just think that's pretty impressive.
Okay, yeah, I agree. All right. So I'm going with Houston. Thomas going a little neutral. He just wants to see a good game, but he's grateful to see an older quarterback taking on the younger cornerback. See who comes out on top. Now Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We only got 2 games on Saturday. Got 3 on Sunday. Got 1 on Monday. So Saturday night game is the Miami Dolphins, who just came off that loss against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday night, 21-14.
Yep.
Against Kansas City in Arrowhead and Patrick Mahomes, they've had a terrible year this year. I don't want to hear what anybody says. Their year has been really bad. And they play at 8 p.m. Eastern time in Arrowhead. It's supposed to be a freezing game, and it might snow. Do you think Miami even has a shot at this game in that weather and the way they've been playing? Miami hasn't been playing the best football.
I do. Miami hasn't been playing that well, but honestly, between you and I, Zach, and we've talked about this, there's no real dominant team out there. I'm sorry.
You don't think the Ravens are?
People can say what they want, but, well, the Ravens, yeah, I have to agree with you there. The Ravens have been playing a little better, but earlier in the year, they were talking about the 49ers. Then they were talking about Miami. They've bounced around left and right, and the Raiders, yes, the second half of the season, not the Raiders, the Ravens. Yeah, the second half of the season, the Ravens have definitely been one of the better, more consistent teams.
I agree with that. Yeah. So are you picking? You think Miami has a shot to beat Kansas City here?
I hate to say it, but not in that weather. They've been really not playing as well as they did earlier in the year. That weather going from, again, you got to play in it, and both teams are playing in it, but I think it definitely gives the Chiefs a little bit of an advantage.
All right, yeah, I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. That's my favorite player in the NFL besides CeeDee Lamb and my boy Dak Prescott, but by far our favorite player is Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes. It's like basically betting against Brady. He's not as good as Brady yet, but he's going to get there if he keeps on winning. This man is a winning quarterback. It's going to be the first time in the playoffs that he's going to have to go on the road. If they do make it to the AFC Championship, he's not going to have a home game. He's going to have to go away. So that'll be the first time to see how he adjusts to that. But I think Kansas City has the better defense. I think they don't have the better offense, but they have the better defense and they have the better quarterback. So with those two variables, I think they get the win over Miami. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think any team is going to blow out one. But I think Kansas City prevails in that weather and at home. What do you think?
I have to agree. And the other thing is Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, he's going to be throwing some stuff at Tua that, I just he's a great defensive coordinator. They've had a little bit of an off season this year, but people forget, as we talked about this before, you and I think, a lot of these teams, they lost their offensive coordinator. So the offense has to learn a whole new thing this year. I was talking with someone about it the other day. I said, you got to remember, the Chiefs had Eric Bieniemy for years, and look how dominant they were. He goes somewhere else, a new coordinator comes in, and don't get me wrong, you still got a group of the same players, but, things change, and some people can adapt to that change, and some other teams, it takes some time to adapt to that change. But I think the Chiefs, Andy Reid, Mahomes, nothing against Miami and that weather, are just they're gonna dominate in this game.
Okay, all right. So me and Tom think that Kansas City is going to take the win on Saturday. So that will prevail Houston and Kansas City into the divisional round. Now moving to Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills. I almost was going to pick the Steelers to win this game with the upset because I still don't trust Josh Allen and Buffalo. I think they're a little on the edge, but they don't got T.J. Watt. They're getting Mika Fitzpatrick back, but I mean T.J. Watt is the best defensive end on the.
You took the words out of my mouth. T.J. Watt is a beast. It stinks after the year he's had that they're not going to have him to play this game, and they've started to play better too the last 5 or 6 weeks too. Pittsburgh, but
but without him, I don't think they got a shot.
And I think Buffalo will be fine. They'll right the ship and get back playing better football. I think nothing against the Steelers, but I am a big Josh Allen fan. I like watching him play, and I know he's had kind of a rough year, but so hasn't a lot of other teams.
Exactly, and his rough year, he still had combined with rushing and throwing over 40 touchdowns. So
Yep,
that's
there's no question.
so yeah. No, I think Buffalo has the win here. I think if Pittsburgh did have T.J. Watt, this would have been a much better game and been much closer.
Yeah, I agree
But
with you.
I think Buffalo's gonna kill them now
Yep,
without T.J. Watt and Mika Fitzpatrick. You don't know if he's still 100%. He's just coming back because he knows that he's a good enough to come back, but might not even be fully healthy.
right.
So with him as a question mark, T.J. Watt definitely out.
Yep.
I would be shocked if Buffalo loses this game, but then this just shows that Josh Allen. Like I'm not a hater of Josh Allen, but that either Sean McDermott's got to go or Josh Allen's got to figure something out.
Yeah,
Either
but
one of those have
again,
to
you
happen.
know as well as I do this year, look how many teams change. Never see it as much, but in recent years, halfway through the season, they got rid of the offensive coordinator. You
Yeah.
know, these changes, so many teams are going through these changes and firing guys, offensive coordinators, defense coordinators, and stuff through the season. I've never seen it so much. So, again, these teams, a lot of them are going through changes mid season, some of them. And again, it's a big change. You're going in one system and then you're hiring somebody else to come in and start a whole new system. It's not easy to adapt for some teams.
No, it's not. I do agree. So me and Tom are both picking Buffalo to win this game on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Now it gets to my Dallas Cowboys home against the Green Bay Packers, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now this used to be a game where us Dallas fans would shit our pants because we're playing against Aaron Rodgers, and that guy always has our number. But he ain't no longer there, so we don't got to worry about that. But we are now playing Jordan Love, the new look Packers with Matt LaFleur. We'll see how good they are going against our defense and Mika Parsons, but I personally don't even think they got a shot. Um, they need to play no turnover football. If they turn over the football once, the game is over. No matter what part of the game we're in, I think that if they turn over the ball once, if they don't turn over the ball, they got a shot. But if they start turning over the ball, I think the game's over. But I think Dallas gets the win. I got us winning by 14 or more points. I don't think the Packers are on our level. Quick and simple. What do you think, Tom?
No, I honestly haven't seen a whole lot of the Packers games this year, other than clips in the morning on ESPN and that, as opposed as I have to seen some of the other teams play. So I know they made the playoffs. I know this kid's doing a decent job. You know, you're walking in, trying to fill Aaron's shoes. It's a big change, but they made the playoffs. So you got to give them a little credit. But honestly, you know as well as I do, and I know you guys are big fans. The hold on one second.
Are you good?
Sorry, I should have put that on vibrate.
It's all good.
The Dallas defense is just Mika Parsons is not human. He's not a human individual. If they were to
No,
do
he's
a
not.
body scan on him, there's something. He's just. We've seen a lot of good players over the years, and it's not just him. The rest of that defense is very good too. And look what's his name's doing. Dak's having a great year. I mean, a lot of people didn't like the coach, but he took over the play calling duties this year, and
Look what's happening.
there's been a big change. So you got to give Mike McCarthy a little bit of credit. I mean, he did a great job in Green Bay all those years he was there, and took over the play calling duties, which is you're taking a big shot, but look what they've done this year. Dax, to me, honestly, I've seen him over the years as you have and all the games we've watched together. He's made some mistakes that you just sit there and shake your head at. But this year, and again, knock on wood, he keeps continually playing the way he is and the offense keeps ticking. And I think, again, and they're home. The only thing I said, I had the discussion with you and your dad.
Yeah.
The only thing with the Cowboys that I watch, and I've watched them more in recent years because of you guys, is up until last week or 2 weeks ago, they had only beat one team that was over 500. They they were just to be a good team, you got to win on the road. And the penalties, they
Yeah.
gotta reel in the penalties, or that's going to kill them.
And that I think is I think that's on Mike McCarthy a little bit because you gotta be able to keep your team a little bit disciplined. But at the same time, you can't Mike McCarthy can't play the game. So like
No,
you gotta also be
again, and I said that, and I think I had this discussion with your father too, because he said the same thing, and I'm like, you can't blame the coach. The guys practice. The guys are
Yeah.
jumping off sides. They're holding. The coach doesn't have a remote. He's not playing a video game to have these guys do what they got it. I swear. People.
No, you're right.
I've said it for years. That a lot of times the coaches get blamed for these things. Yeah, it's not the coach's fault. I'm sorry. You got to know the snap count. You got to know the plays. You got to know stuff like that. It's not Mike McCarthy's fault for all these penalties. They got to
I
be
do
more
agree with that.
disciplined and smarter, or it's
Yeah.
going to end up costing them a game.
And it has in the last couple of years when it comes to the playoffs
Exactly.
against
So let's
San
hope they
Fran.
get more disciplined and a little bit smarter, and I think they'll be okay. And they're playing at home, so that's a
Yeah,
good
and it
thing.
looks like if everything goes to the plan, it looks like we'll be home until the NFC Championship if we do play San Francisco.
Yep.
And that depends if San Francisco loses. Because I'm not so high on San Fran. I don't think they're as good as people think they are. I think they'll run into somebody, but I think we'll get to that on Monday night because that's the Philly and Tampa game.
Right.
Because whoever wins that game, well, if Tampa wins that game, they would play. They would play the. Well, if the Rams would beat the Detroit Lions, which is the next game. So before we go into that, me and Tom have the Cowboys winning, correct? On
Yeah.
Sunday, 4:30.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
No
now
question.
moving on to the Sunday night game, we have the Detroit Lions home against the LA Rams. Detroit just lost to my Dallas Cowboys 2 weeks ago in a very close call where Campbell goes for it on fourth down. For the 2-point conversion, and he doesn't get it. And then there's a bunch of penalties, and he still goes for it and still doesn't get it. A lot of questions were asked. Why didn't you just go for the one to tie the game? There's all that stuff. But they now are in the playoffs. They have a home game against the Rams. Now, the Rams are playing good football. They just beat the 49ers without Brock Purdy and everything, but with Carson Wentz at the helm. Puka Nacua is one of the best rookie wide receivers, is the best rookie wide receiver in the NFL right now. He blew up the record for the most receiving yards as a rookie and receptions. So I think with him and Matthew Stafford, they got a big shot. It's going back to Detroit. Matthew Stafford loves playing in Detroit because he's played there for his entire career up until the Rams. So I'm looking like an upset right here. I think there's an upset coming. I got an upset here. What do you think, Tom? Do you think an upset could happen with the
There's
Rams and
no
Matthew
question
Stafford?
that the Rams have turned it around the second half. They're finally playing better football. That Nacua kid is fun to watch. Then you got Cooper Kupp. The quarterback's playing great. And again, I like it's nice seeing the Lions back in after, what is it, 30 years?
Yeah, it's been a while. No, the last time they were in the playoffs was, I believe, 2012 when we beat the Lions in the first round.
Oh,
And that was the
anyway,
last
whatever it is. But I love
something
Dan
like that.
Campbell. I've loved him. I like the way, the old school go get him mentality. And, it's just nice to see the Lions back in it again. The Rams, but like you said, the Rams have definitely been playing better football. Very interesting.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think the Rams football that they've been playing is off the chains. But I'm going to go with the Rams. I got the upset here. I'm going to take the Rams. I think the Rams are a better matchup to go against the what's it called? If the Rams do beat Detroit, they are the lower seed, so they're going to verse the San Francisco 49ers in the divisional round. So no matter what, with them being the one seed, they always take on the lower seed. So if the Rams do win, they'll face their division rivals who they just beat a week ago without Brock Purdy in San Francisco to go to the NFC Championship. Now, if Detroit would win, then whoever wins in the Philly-Tampa Bay game, so since Tampa is the 4 seed and Philly is the 5 seed, if Tampa would beat Philly, Tampa would go to San Francisco, and then Detroit would come to us, to Dallas again for a rematch of 3 weeks ago. But if Philly would to beat Tampa, they are the lower seed, so they would go to San Francisco to play to rematch of the NFC Championship from last year. So no matter what, it's a lot of rematching here. So I'm thinking, since I have the Rams winning. Do you think that's a good matchup, or would you want the Lions? Do you think the Lions got the shot to beat the Rams? I just think Matthew Stafford with the veteran quarterback.
That's another game where the early one we talked about, where I'm a little on the fence, where I just really want to see a good game. Both teams are decent teams with, good coaches, and they've both been playing. The Rams have been playing substantially better, but they are
Yeah.
playing away in Detroit. So, the home field advantage is nice to have, but two great teams, and I hope it turns into a great football game.
Do you think that having Matthew Stafford as a guy that's already played for the number of years he's played in Detroit, do you think that that's really not a home game for Detroit? It's really a home game for Matthew Stafford since he's been there his entire career up until the last couple of years with the Rams. Do you
Yeah,
think that plays into that?
it is, but he's playing for another team.
That's true.
It is what it is. I think it's going to be a very good game. I hope.
All right, so Tom is going with a neutral side. So he's going neutral with Cleveland and Houston. He's going with neutral with LA and Detroit. I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to take the Rams. I think the Rams have a shot to beat the 49ers because they're division rivals. They're going to play them tough as nails. And I think that next round is going to be something to watch. You got everybody basically fully healthy for the Rams and the 49ers. It's going to be a great game. But I'm going to go with the Rams with the upset. I like Detroit that they're in it. I just think the Rams with Matthew Stafford and their coach that's been there, I think they have a better shot.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with you a little bit. Like I said, I'm on the fence and want to see a good game, but the offensive arsenal of Los Angeles has really been clicking. And I know they're playing on the road, but going to be an interesting game.
All right. So now we're moving to Monday night. This is the last game of the epic wild card weekend we have. We have the Philadelphia Eagles, who have looked absolutely shit. I mean, we can both agree they are looking terrible.
Yep.
They've lost against the Giants with their starters in. They lost against the Cardinals back-to-back weeks. They are 5-6. They are 5-6 in their They are 1-6 in their last 6 games. That's pretty. Oh no, wait. Yeah. They've lost one. They've won one game out of their last 6
Or is it
games.
1-5? It's 1-5, isn't it? I don't know. I saw something this morning about it.
It's 1-6 because they played 6 games since they're something like that. They've only
Right.
won one game, which is against the Giants on Christmas Day,
Yes.
and that was the only game they've won in the
Yep.
last 6 games. That's pretty bad, and that was with Mr. What's his name?
DeVito.
Tommy DeVito, he was starting for the first half, and they only mustered 3 points. Tyrod Taylor goes in there, they almost win the game. So
Yep.
if they would have started Tyrod Taylor, let's see, they might have blew out the Eagles, and they started Tyrod Taylor last week, and they blew out the Eagles. So you never knew what was happening with that. I don't trust Philly, but I think that Dallas for me is going to be home no matter what. No matter if we play Tampa or if we play. If we play Detroit or we play Philly or we play Tampa, it don't matter who we play because we're at home, so it don't matter. We're not going away from nobody.
Right.
So I don't care who comes to Dallas. I don't care if we were even away either. But none of these teams scare me. Detroit don't scare me.
Yeah, but we talked about this already. You gotta the Dallas has got to take those home games as they can because they've not really beat. Who was it? There was one team they beat. Huh?
They beat 2 teams. They haven't. Hold on.
Right, they beat 2, but they were what's his name? They just got to reel it in and get more what's his name with the penalties and other goofy things and at home, and they should be fine if they can reel in the penalties. I think Dallas, out of those teams you just talked about, I definitely think Dallas is the better team.
Tom, I can't hear you.
What?
I can't hear you. Give me a second. Can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, my controller died, which knocked
No,
off
it's
the
no
audio.
problem.
So, what were you saying? Because I couldn't hear you for the last 30 seconds.
I don't remember what I was just talking about. Dallas, just they got to want to hope to play home, but come the end, they got to step up and win that game. If they got to play on the road, it's nice that they're playing home, but again, they got to reel in the penalties and just play. Dak's got to continue to play the way he's playing, and the defense is superb. They just got to reel in the penalties. And those teams that you just talked about, I don't think are going to beat the Cowboys at home. I think the Eagles are definitely going to turn it around. As good as they were last year, not so much because, again, here we go with the coaching changes. They had a bunch of changes. They got rid of the defensive coordinator, and then they
Yep.
brought in what's his name was there and his assistant, the old guy that was with the Lions, and then he went back to the Matt Patricia.
Yep.
He's running the defense now. So I kind of think they're going to reel it in and play a little better. But like you said, the way they're playing right now, but I just got a funny feeling they're that good of a team, and I love their coach. I think they'll come around and play better, but I just don't think they're going to be good enough if they get to that point to play the Cowboys at home and be competitive.
And for me personally, I want to go through all the best teams. So yeah, Philly's not the best team, but arguably this whole year up until the last couple of games, they've been the best team, second best behind the 49ers and behind us. So I want to
Well,
play
like you
Philly.
said, don't forget though, you tipped me off, and I haven't seen a whole lot of their games, but the Ravens.
What?
Don't forget about the Ravens.
Yeah, but we're not going to play them to the Super Bowl. So I ain't
No, I
going
know
to. I
that,
ain't
but
gonna,
I'm saying they've been playing pretty dang good.
No, Ravens. The Ravens are going to be. That's the matchup right there. If the Cowboys make to the Ravens, we can't have no penalties. We can't turn the ball over. We got to play sound football,
That's what I'm
and we're
saying.
not.
They're going
It's
to
going
just
to be
show
at a
up
neutral.
with
It's going to be
penalties.
a neutral site. It's going
Yep,
to be a neutral site. It's not. None of us is going to be home. It's going to be in Vegas. So we're going to be
yep,
really far. Both our
yep.
both,
They got to
both
get
our
there
teams.
first.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm taking it one game at a time. I think we take down the Packers, then we worry about whoever's coming next. I don't care
Exactly.
who's worried about next. I just want to beat the Packers and then
You
move
got to
on to the
stay
following week.
healthy.
Exactly. That's a big thing. Oh, we're also getting back. If you guys did not know, Tyler Smith is expected to play against the Packers, even with that tear in his foot. He's expected to play and start. It's like it's not the tear in the foot. It's like fasciolus, something.
Playing fasciitis.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that
So
what it
he's
is?
expected to play.
All
Yeah, that's
right.
what it is. I believe that's what it is. And then Stephon Gilmore, he had a scare. I thought he broke his collarbone. It was just a strain, so he's able
I
to
thought
play
he.
as
It's
well.
funny you said that. I thought he broke his arm.
Well, either way, I thought he broke something because I was like, he's like this. I was like,
Yeah,
no way,
he was
we just
walking
lost
off.
our best
They were
quarterback.
holding his arm. I'm like, that's not good.
Yeah, that don't look good. I guess it was just a strain, and it just
Yeah,
was killing him.
whatever. As long as
But
he's
that was
okay.
best case scenario. So who you got for the Philly and Tampa Bay game? Now Tampa is a little bit of a weird one. They came out of the boom here.
Where are they playing?
It's in Tampa because Tampa won their division. Philly didn't.
I haven't seen them play a whole lot this year either. I'm going with
They're
Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is going to turn it around.
they're very sketchy. I don't care. I'm gonna go with a neutral one, but I gotta pick somebody. I trust Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. It's sad for me to say that, better than Baker Mayfield and the Bucks, who just got in by the skin of their teeth. So I'm
Yep.
gonna go with the Philadelphia Eagles. I trust them a little bit more than the Bucks. But I would like this. I would love to see the Eagles fall to the Bucks. That would
Yeah,
just be
no,
fun.
the
That
Bucks
would
have
put
had
the
a
icing
great
on the
year
cake for the year.
too. Didn't anticipate doing much, and they've had a great year. But I just think the Eagles, Sirianni, and the Eagles are going to turn it around.
All right. So that's pretty much it, guys, for the playoff game. NFL playoff wild card weekend. We have a stacked weekend. Just to reiterate, what are the teams we picked? I'm taking the Houston Texans on Saturday at 4:30 Eastern to beat the Cleveland Browns. Tom is a little bit neutral. He wants to see a good game. Um, Kansas City taking on Miami in Arrowhead Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We both have Kansas City basically somewhat dominating this game because of the weather and just the way the Dolphins have been playing so far over the last couple weeks. Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers without T.J. Watt. We're both saying that the Steelers really don't have a shot, and Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills at home are going to beat the brakes off the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then the Dallas Cowboys at the Green Bay Packers. We're both picking Dallas to play smart football, and if they do that and play correctly the way they've been playing, they should beat the Packers. Then the Rams game. He's a little bit neutral on this one, but he's leaning to the side of the Rams. I'm going with the Rams to take down and upset the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Philadelphia and Tampa. We're both going with trusting Jalen Hurts and Philly. I think they're a more veteran type team. They know how to get the job done. They've been in the Super Bowl. I think Tampa just getting in. I don't think they really got much of a shot, but it would be nice to see if Tampa did beat the Eagles. Also, matchups that we have to look out for. Dallas is playing Green Bay. Mike McCarthy coached in Green Bay, so it's going to be cool to see how that thing. He even said it this week that I'm a Cowboy now. Nothing to do with the Packers anymore. Same with the LA Rams and Detroit. Matthew Stafford, like we said, is going back to Detroit to play them in the playoffs. And then Jared Goff is playing his old team in the Rams. So we'll see how that goes. But other than that, that's pretty much it for our segment when it comes to the NFL wildcard weekend. Now we're going on to just predicting my predictions for what happened this year in the NFL season. So if you guys remember, I went into going over the all 32 teams of the NFL and their records before the season started, and we'll see how we did. So, Tom, I had so I'm going to go with the Ravens first. That was the first division, the AFC North. I had the Ravens at 12-5. They finished 13-4. I
There
was
you
off
go.
by a game. That's not bad.
That's good.
They were amazing. They were 6-3 at home. They were 7-1 on the road. That's the difference between the Ravens, man. They lost one game on the road.
That's
They were worse at
exactly what
home,
I'm talking
and they were
about.
better on the road. Cowboys way different. We'll get to what the Cowboys are in away and home just in a bit. The Browns, the Bengals, I had them at 12-5 because of Joe Burrow. No one thought Joe Burrow in 5 games into the season was going to
Yeah,
get
that's
hurt.
the
They
thing.
finished the last in their division at 9-8. So that was a shit bag one. That one I did
Yeah,
not
but
do well.
again, you're losing Joe Burrow, which was a shame. I love watching the kid play the game.
I
He's
did too.
awesome.
I did too. And then we moved to the with the Steelers. I had the Steelers at 9-8. They finished 10-7.
And again, lost their starting quarterback. There you go again. So a lot of
Yep.
changes.
Yep. The Browns, I did not expect them to do this well. I had them at 9-8. They finished 11-6. So difference of 2 games. Not bad. Still in the same time frame. So that wasn't that bad. Now we're moving on to the AFC East. In the Dolphins, I had them at 10-7. They finished 11-6. It's
Wow,
not bad.
dude. No, not at all.
Dude, I'm so close to even matching
Yeah,
up
you
all the
are.
teams. The Bills I had at 12-5. They finished 11-6. I missed it by a game again. What the hell is this? This is bad.
That's good. That's pretty good.
Oh my god. Um, the Jets I had them at 12-5. No one thought Aaron Rodgers was going to lose his Achilles in the first 4 snaps.
Again,
So
there you
they
go.
they,
I
they
don't even
finished
care if
seven
they
and
had
ten.
Rodgers. I hate to say it. They might have been a little better, but with that offensive line, he might not have lasted another 2 games. The way that line is, that line's it's like Swiss cheese at the
Yeah,
deli.
you're
That
probably
line.
right.
You got to shore it up next year, or he's not going to be a happy camper.
Oh no, definitely not. Definitely not. So they were 7-10, so not as good as they were. The Patriots, I did not expect it to be this bad. They finished the season 4-13. I projected them to be 7-10. What are
Not
your thoughts
terrible
on that?
either, though. If you think about it.
No, not bad, but I didn't think they were gonna be that bad. Like they were pretty bad. I missed it by
No,
3 games, but still.
I'm surprised. I really am surprised. But guess what? They had a heck of a good run, and teams are going to not have that run every year. I don't care. Turnover of coaches, turnover of players, things change. He's done a good job there. He had a
You're
bad
right.
year. It is what it is.
Yeah, everyone has those bad years. It is what it is, just like you said. All right, now we're gonna move on to the AFC South. Now we have the Texans. The Texans, I didn't think that they were gonna be this good. But they jumped my expectations. They actually flip flopped my record. They finished 10-7. I had them at 7-10. So
Wow.
that's basically all they did.
No,
Um,
you had good.
yeah, I was only off
Look
by
at the
3 games.
numbers. Your percentages on all those, for the most part, were very good.
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't realize how close I was. The Jaguars, I believe I picked them at 12-5. They really went off. They started 8-3, and then the last, like, dude, they won one game out of the last
Yeah,
seven
they
games.
went in the tank, and they fired. I saw something today too. I think they kept the head coach, but they fired a bunch of the other coaches.
Yeah, they did. They fired a couple of them. So yeah, they were. I projected them as 12-5. They finished 9-8. So not as good as that one. The Colts. The Colts, on the other hand, trying to find them. The Colts. I had them at 6-11. They finished 9-8. So they actually did better than I thought they were going to do. But then
No,
again,
I think
difference of three games.
they lost their rookie quarterback. Not that Gardner
Anthony
Minshew's not been
Richardson.
in there before, but they lost that. What was his name? Richardson early in the
Anthony
year.
Richardson. Yep.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew's been there. He knows how to play, and he did a decent job.
Yeah, he did. The Titans. I mean, I didn't think they were going to be this bad. I had them at 9-8. But they finished 6-11.
Yeah,
So a difference again of three. I was right there. I mean, it was just a lot of weirdness. They benched Ryan Tannehill. They went to Will Levis. I think if they would have had Will Levis, well, then they went back to Ryan Tannehill the last two
yeah, but
games.
didn't
So
Levis
it's
get
very
hurt?
weird. Well, yes, he did, and then they went back to Ryan Tannehill, and I think they
Yeah,
won their
and
last two games.
he got hurt like 3 weeks ago. They were playing good, and they basically said he was our starter for the rest of the way, and he got hurt. I don't remember what happened to him, but I know he got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt. Ryan Tannehill came in for the last two games, and they won both their games. So it was very
Yep,
weird.
yep.
Derrick Henry is supposed to part ways with the Tennessee Titans mutually after in the offseason. Yeah,
That
so he's
dude's
gone.
another beast.
He's gone. So we'll see if the Cowboys in the offseason might pick him up. I mean, we kind of need another big monster back. We don't need Tony Pollard doing all that heavy lifting.
Yeah, no, that dude's another one. Him and Micah Parsons on the same team. I don't think they got a plane big enough for those two guys. That dude's a bad dude.
Yeah,
Both
he's
of
a
those
monster.
guys
He's a
are just
monster.
crazy. Derrick Henry is so
Yeah,
fun to watch, man. He just puts his head down and goes. It's like a train running over people. He's awesome to watch.
yeah, he's ridiculous. Now the Chiefs, they finished 11-6. I had the Chiefs at 12-5, so I missed it by a game.
That's good. And again, like I said to you, people don't realize they think of this and that and playing bad. The defense is still good because they had Spagnola, but the offensive coordinator went to the Commanders and they got a new offensive coordinator. Things change, and sometimes
Yeah,
things don't mesh with the program.
exactly. Now the Raiders, I had them at 8-9. They finished 8-9, so I got that correct.
We got to go to Vegas,
Um,
dude.
appreciate that. I don't bet though, so that's the
I
problem.
don't either. I'm like
Um,
you, but still, that's you go over all those records, and then you go over. I mean, I watch some of the stuff on ESPN with these guys before the games, and then throughout the season, they come up with what they chose every week. These guys are sitting in there all the time doing this stuff, dude. And some of their records,
yeah.
very interesting.
Uh,
So you did awesome.
Broncos, appreciate it. Broncos are 8-9. They finished 8-9. I had them at 7-10. So I missed it by a game
Yeah,
again.
well, a lot of close ones, dude. There ain't many that were that far off. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I thought the Chargers were gonna do so much better, but Justin Herbert got hurt the last like 5 games.
Yeah,
So they went and they dropped to 5-12, and I had them at 10-7. So that was the big one. I missed that by 5. But who'd
yeah.
have thought I had that Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, and Joe Burrow. Those were the three big misses. They all sucked.
Yeah,
Um,
it's tough when those guys you don't realize again a team's all about the whole team and it's more than one player, but one certain individual, like you take a Burrow out of that, not that backup quarterback can't do something different, but certain players take a little more of the dynamics away from the team when they get hurt.
yeah, exactly. Now for the NFC, I had the. I'm gonna go to the Bears division, the NFC North. I had the Bears at 10-7. the Justin Fields got hurt for like 4 games, and they finished the season 7-10. So again, just flip flop the record. Excuse me, and that's basically what it is. Um, then the Lions. I actually predicted them really well this year. They finished the season 12-5. I had them at 11-6. So I had faith in the Lions, man. A lot of people
Yeah.
did.
No, Dan Campbell's turned that
Uh,
program around the last 3 years.
oh, big time. Yes, big time. Commanders in the NFC East. I had them at 6-11. They finished 4-13. So difference of 2 games.
Yeah.
The Eagles. I had them at 12-5. They finished 11-6. Again, right there.
Yeah.
Packers. They finished the season 9-8. I had them at 11-6. Missed it by 2 again. The Vikings. I had them at 10-7. They finished 7-10. Justin Jefferson didn't play a while. They went. Kirk Cousins got hurt
They
early
lost
in the
Kirk
season. They
Cousins
went through
too,
2 other
though.
quarterbacks.
Yep. They lost
Yeah,
Kirk
exactly. They
Cousins.
lost Kirk Cousins, and then they went through 2 other quarterbacks.
Yeah, they ended up getting Dobbs
That's
after he went down, and then who was the other one? Was it Mullins?
uh yeah, Mullins. And then they went to
After
another rookie
after
quarterback.
Dobbs played 2 or 3 games, and he played good the first couple games, and then they pulled him and put that other
Then they
guy in.
put Mullins, and then Mullins sucked, and then the last 2 games or game or so they put in this other rookie. Forgot his name.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know his name either.
then for the Giants, I predicted them at 9-8. They finished 6-11. Daniel Jones got hurt. I mean, they actually played a little bit better with Tyrod Taylor, I believe. Um, then the Cowboys, I projected them at 13-4. They're 12-5.
There you go.
My Cowboys, I messed up by 1 game because they were supposed to win that Dolphins game. I thought they had that. That was the difference between being 13-4 and 12-5. But it is what it is. The Buccaneers, I had the Bucks at 7-10. They went 9-8. Hit by 2 games. The Saints, I had them at 10-7. They were 9-8. I missed that by 1 game. The Falcons I had at 7-10, and they finished the season 7-10. So I got that correct.
Wow.
Uh, the Cardinals, I had them at 6-11. They finished 4-13. Difference of 2 games. The Panthers, I had them at 4-13. They finished 2-15. Missed it by 2 games. The Seahawks, I had at 10-7. They finished 9-8. It was right there, ladies and gentlemen, right there. Jesus Lord. The Rams, I had this one I kind of didn't do well on. I had the Rams at 6-11. They finished 10-7. So that one I kind of
Yeah, but
messed
think
up
about
on
it
that
though.
one. But hey,
You weren't far. I know you're saying you were far off, but first half of the season they were playing more like that record. They turned it on the second half.
that's true. You are right about that. A lot of these teams that I messed up a little bit that are 3-4 losses, the
Yep.
only couple teams that I've
The
had,
Rams
those were because they
especially.
turned it around.
Yep.
Yeah, or I expected them to do well, and they just lost a lot of people, and then they just demolished. They got killed.
Yep.
But the
No
last
question.
team, I had the 49ers. I projected them 12-5. They finished 12-5.
You had
So
a good team, but
that's
they've been very sporadic.
yes, they have. They have been very sporadic. But uh, for the um, for the records, ladies and gentlemen, I did pretty well. Tom, what are your final thoughts on the way how my records were?
I think that was awesome, dude. I think we got to catch the next plane to Vegas before the next football season.
uh, as long as you're paying Tom, I'm cool.
That's fine. Whatever we got to do, dude. We always
That
have
would be
fun.
awesome. Even though I don't bet, that's the problem.
We don't bet. We don't have to bet a lot. Bet a little bit to make a lot, maybe. But that's pretty good. I mean, again, I just
That's true.
watch ESPN
Yes,
all the
bet a
time and
little
see
bit.
what these guys say
Exactly.
in the
And we did
records at
that.
the end of the year, and you did pretty good, dude.
I appreciate that. So we got one more story. We're at 44 minutes, guys. Whoever's tuning into our YouTube show here. Again, this is my family friend, Tom Phillips. Appreciate him coming on. We got one more segment here on the Fire Sports Pod. We're going to be just going over some sports stories and our reactions to those sports stories. So let's get right to it. So the first story we have, do you think that the Bears they kind of put it back on when Justin Fields got back from being injured? Do you think the Bears should move off of Justin Fields already, trade him?
It, it depends. Like I said, Zach, you know me. I'm all about the team and everything else. These teams. What happened to Zach? Hello, hello, Zach. Where'd you go?
Oh, what happened was I think my internet just shut off for the Xbox, so I'm gonna I'm gonna take it on from here. So
Not for nothing. You're much clearer. I can hear you now. The picture's clearer. Your other thing was very staticky when you were talking.
all right, so then we'll just hit it off from here then.
Oh no, it's clear as day now. It was very staticky before.
All right, cool. So I'll just hit it from here. Um, But for this, for the story that we have for you guys today, can you hear me still, Tom?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna just get off of that because that was,
Yeah,
I think
much
that
clearer now, dude.
for that much time, I think it was a little too much. So let me just hold on, guys. Sorry about this. We had some technical difficulties. All right. So with this being said, we have some sports stories. Like I was saying before we got disconnected. Um, What are your thoughts? Do you think should the Chicago Bears move off of Justin Fields already, or do you think that they should keep him and try to help him out? Do you think they should like let him go and then like just basically just get rid of him, or do you think they should have him compete against a quarterback from the draft because they do have the number 1 pick in the draft and they do have the number 9 pick in the draft. So what are your thoughts on that? Just quick synopsis of what do you
It's
think?
funny you mention that because I have ESPN on the bottom. They fired the offensive coordinator and they
Yep.
fired the quarterbacks coach.
Really? Oh, Jesus.
Again, big changes, but they went 5-3. I know he got hurt and missed 4 games with a finger or something, but
Yeah.
they played the end of the year. They played pretty decent. So
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, why would you move off of a guy that you spent a draft pick on and who hasn't been that bad? He's just been a little inconsistent, but he's a second year player. I don't understand why everyone
and different coaches.
exactly. So
These
I don't
players keep going with the changes, and I don't think it's fair either. I'm a big component of how they did it years ago. These guys come out of college now, especially the quarterbacks. I think the quarterback should sit for a year or two over a veteran and learn a little bit. But the last 5 or 6 years, these guys come out of college and they throw them right in the fire, which, again, if they can compete, that's fine. But how many guys have come out and quarterbacks in recent years from college and done what Stroud's done?
none.
It's a
Not
big
many.
it's a big adjustment, and I think sitting back and learning and watching a quarterback, an older veteran quarterback, sitting next to him on the bench, watching what he does, I think it's a big change. They throw some of these younger guys in the fire, and they're not ready for it. I mean, college and pro are two totally different games. And
Yeah,
I
I do agree. I agree with that.
and
Um,
again, systems too. You're in college for some of them leave early, but you're in a system in college for 3 or 4 years. Some of them come out and go into a whole new system. It takes some time to get used to that system, and some of them don't get used to it.
Yeah,
So
exactly. You're right. So yeah, I think they should keep Justin Fields. That's my guy from Ohio State. I think they need to give him a little bit more of a leeway. He got injured. I mean, you got to give him another shot. I mean, if he's not as good next year, then maybe. But like you said, they threw him into the fire against with the Bears, and they sucked when he
Yeah,
came in last year.
yeah,
So he did some good things last year.
yeah. And they
Um,
finished, like I said, they just had it on the bottom. They finished at 5-3 after he came back. They played. They were playing decent.
Yeah. Now we talked about this with the wild card game with Puka Nakua. I mean, he's a monster. He's one of the best wide receivers to ever come out in the draft and have this great of a season as a rookie, leading the league in leading rookies in receptions or breaking the record in receptions and yards as a rookie. Just your thoughts on Puka Nakua. Can he become one of the best wide receivers to ever uh, play the game at his size? He's a very small guy, but
Yeah,
he's a
but
monster.
you think about it. What he's done this year, again, coming out of college, pretty cool. Pretty cool going against professional players. Not many guys are going to do that, and he has done it and shown himself. And like you said, broke records. So if he stays healthy and in a good organization and a good program, I don't see why he's not going to excel going years down the road.
Okay, I agree. I think Puka Nakua is a generation type talent. I think he showed that now this year, and I think he'll show that for years to come. Now for our next one, Mika Parsons. We were just talking about him. This man's a beast. I mean, he is by far one of the best, if not the best, linebacker slash defensive end in the National Football League. He just broke the. He's had 40 and a half sacks in 3 years, which is the most and it's tying Reggie White with 52 in the caliber of Reggie White, Derek Thomas, Hall of Fame class of 2024, modern era in Dwight Freeney and Eldon Smith. Um, Other than though that Mika Parsons right behind there. He had 14 sacks this year. Finally got his 14th mark. His career high is 14 finally. And he's got a total of 40 and a half sacks over 3 years. That hasn't been done by many other than the guys that I just named. Do you think if Mika stays healthy, could he be? He's basically. You've heard my dad say this. I've said this a couple times. He is the modern day Lawrence Taylor. Do you think that is accurate right now?
Oh, there's no question. He's phenomenal. But again, too, you got to remember, you got guys like so many of them out there now. Not so many of them. I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. J.J. Watt retired. He was awesome in his heyday. You got the other guy, his brother, Mika Parsons, Miles Garrett. There's so many guys. There's some guys out there, but Mika Parsons is just, again, I think if you check his blood, I don't know if he has blood in his system. The dude's not for real. He plays every minute of every down with the same intensity. Not many guys can do that.
No, not many, not many. You are definitely right about that. I'm a Cowboys fan, as people know on the YouTube show here on the Fire Sports Pod. But Mika, he's a different animal. I mean, we had Demarcus Ware. I got the end of him. I've seen only clips of all the old guys. But man, Mika Parsons, he's a different animal. He's a beast. Now we had a lot of firings, and we're just gonna bang them out. And this is what we were talking about. I mean, we had we had Arthur Smith of Atlanta. He's done.
Yep.
He got fired. I mean, for good reason. The Atlanta Falcons haven't done anything. They've been abysmal since they've lost in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, giving up that 25 or 28 to 3 lead in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. So they've been absolutely crap since then. Do you think that their Arthur Smith firing is a good thing for Atlanta?
Tough to say. When you don't watch a team a lot, like I said, I've watched the Cowboys more in recent years and pay attention to them more. Like I did with the Patriots, with Tom Brady when he was with Tampa. Certain teams I follow more and can see more, so it's tough to really comment on the situation. But like I said, these revolving of coaches in these teams, especially these guys that are coming into teams that don't have great records, they hire them, they come in. Some of them can turn things around a little bit, but I think you got to give someone a little bit of time to turn it around because they're coming into another system where they're taking over, and the changing of the guard with coaches and everything else, it's a big change for everybody. So I think some of these guys, I know the owners got a lot of money put into these things, but you got to do your homework. You got to get someone in there, and you kind of got to let them make a little more decisions than to bring their own people in to right the ship. I mean, give them at least a couple, 2 or 3 years. If after 2 years or 3 years you don't see any major changes, then obviously, something's got to change.
He was there for 3 years, so they're very basically your time frame. I mean,
That
even
wasn't there for 3 years.
yeah, he was there for 3 years. They were 7-10 every year.
Oh, yeah. I see. I don't certain stuff. I don't follow enough because I don't. Other than seeing it, certain teams I don't see a whole lot of, so I don't know. But
Yeah, I really didn't know that Arthur Smith was there for 3 years because the Falcons haven't been really anything. They
yeah,
haven't.
right.
There's
Seven
been
ten,
no
seven
big.
and 10 isn't the greatest, but it's not terrible either. And then when you're going through, I don't even know who the quarterback was there. I know Matt Ryan left, and
Desmond Ryder. Desmond Ryder is the quarterback for
the
the Falcons.
rookie, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yep. So we'll see what happens
So
with the
again, there you go. You're throwing a rookie into the fire of a team that's kind of just been average for years.
Yeah.
It's not
Now,
that easy.
yeah, it is. Now, another firing. We had the Carolina Panthers with a complete rebuild. The club fired general manager Scott Fitter on Monday. After 3 seasons. In 3 seasons under Fitter, the leadership, the Panthers went 14-37, including 2023 dismal 2-15 output. The GM joined the Carolina after 20 seasons with Seattle. The Panthers previously fired head coach Frank Wright after 11 games this season. Given Carolina's struggles and apparent roster shortcomings, it comes as little surprise that Tepper would completely start over. The Panthers are an embarrassment. They haven't been good since 2015 when they went to the Super Bowl with Cam Newton and Luke Kuechly and Greg Olsen and all them boys. So is there any possibility that the Panthers could even be close to getting something with Bryce Young, or do you think this team is just bad, like really bad?
Well, I hate to say it, but the owner doesn't help either after what he did last week. That's just, I mean, I know things are bad. I know things are bad, but you don't sit in your box and someone in the crowd is saying something. I don't know what was said. Again, there's two sides to every story, but you're the owner. You're worth, I forget how much they said he's worth, and he's throwing drinks on people because they said something.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. You can't do that.
No, it's unacceptable, but you just gotta, again, I didn't see a lot of those games. I know Reich was fired, like you said, I think 11 games into the season. I got a funny feeling what's his name is going to go back there. He had a good career there for a long time, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ron Rivera goes back there.
I wouldn't be. Yeah, and that's the next one. Actually, you just read my mind, Tom.
I don't know how long ago it was. Well, when they fired Reich, because I know they were talking to. I was watching the Fox game with Greg Olsen and the guy he does the game with. Yeah. And said something to him about it. And Greg Olsen's like, if he called me, I'd sit down and talk to him about the coaching job. I don't know if that's going to happen, but.
Ooh, that's a weird one.
But I got a funny feeling what's his name's going to end up back there. I don't know why. Ron Rivera, I think so. He's just – the guy's a class act and a good guy, and what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. But Washington Commanders owner like we said, he let go Ron Rivera. I personally think that's a stupid decision. I think Ron Rivera is a great coach. I like him. I think he was turning stuff around in Washington. I think he needed one more season, everything to be healthy. Their defense was so bad because they had nobody healthy. Half their damn team was injured. And they let go Sweat, and they let go Bosa.
The other guy, Sweat. No, not Bosa. What's his name?
I mean, not Bosa. Chase Young.
Yeah.
Chase Young. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting when they let those guys go. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on down there? But again, didn't watch a whole lot of those games. I just like Ron Rivera. I've watched him for years. I've seen interviews, and he's a classy dude. And again, they made big changes down there too. They brought what's his name came over and took over the offense from the Chiefs. We talked about that earlier.
Eric Bieniemy, yeah.
He was the offensive coordinator this year. I'm not saying it's his fault because don't get me wrong, you got to have the players to play, and the quarterback, that Howell, wasn't bad from some of the stuff I saw.
He wasn't that bad. It was just that his offensive line was bad. They only have one legitimate wide receiver. Their running backs are good, but when Sam Howell is really not used to. This is his first full season as a starter,
Exactly.
and that's the problem. You're basically throwing in a rookie into that type of role, and he's not ready for that.
No.
It's like if you threw Patrick Mahomes, who just got drafted from Texas Tech, into the Washington Commanders now, bro, he would be terrible.
Well, we've had this discussion too. Again, I said it earlier about the Jets' offensive line. I'm sorry. If Aaron Rodgers stayed healthy this year, I don't know how many body parts he would have had left at the end of the year. Look at how many times Zach Wilson got sacked and all those quarterbacks got sacked. That line is terrible. And a good quarterback, as we've had the discussion before, Tom Brady's one of my favorites. But those teams put lines in front of those guys to make them excel and be better. If you don't put those pieces in place, I don't care how much money you spend. You're not going to be that good. If a quarterback doesn't have open receivers and doesn't have time to throw the football, where's he going other than the grave?
It's facts. So now last one, Dennis Allen, the Saints coach, he is actually keeping his job. They're going to keep him as the Saints head coach.
Yep.
By dominating Atlanta 48-17. He keeps his job, and he's going to be returning as the head coach in 2024. But I believe because they had a pretty good season, they finished, I believe, with a winning record. They just missed the playoffs, but I think that's great. But a lot of these teams that we've talked about, they've been crap. Their records are horrible. The coaches have been there for a while. Dennis Allen, I believe, has been there for only a year, or since Sean Payton left. So I believe like 2 years. And he's given them winning records, and they haven't made the playoffs or whatever. Last year, I think they went 7-10. This year, they went 9-8. So you see a different change in scenery and different change in a type of growth. But they didn't make the playoffs, but he had a winning record. He improved. The other guys, they've either stayed the same or they've gotten worse.
Right. What's his name too? He got Derek Carr this year, but they had Jameson Winston. They tried for a couple of years. And what's the other guy? What's his name? Number 7.
Taysom Hill,
who's a great athlete, but they tried making him their full-time quarterback. It didn't work. And then this year they got Derek Carr, and then I know Derek Carr was hurt for a few games too.
Yep, exactly. Again, so we have the same scenario with a lot of these teams. Now one of your expertise is golf. So I know something you heard. This was a couple days ago. Tiger Woods splits with Nike Golf after 27-year relationship.
Yep.
There will certainly be another chapter. They professional at the age of 20. They took him in of 1996 summer. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, you're the expert when it comes to golf. I like golf, but I'm not that big of a monster with golf.
A lot of these guys, from what I'm hearing, like the sponsors have taken back like some of the money, whereas Nike, Jason Day's another one, big Nike guy for years. He's with Melbourne now. Melbourne Sports.
Yes.
And there's some of these other guys that are switching, going with these other companies. So I don't know what's going on with Nike, but a lot of these sponsors are stepping aside. And Tiger's not going to have a problem. Even he's in his heyday, but he's going to sign on with somebody. I know watching the PNC Championship before Christmas with him and Charlie.
Yeah.
His son, Charlie had, which was kind of funny, Charlie had a Grayson sweatshirt on.
Oh.
So, I mean, who knows? But Tiger is going to sign on with somebody. There's no question they're going to want him because, look, God knows I'd like to see the numbers, what he's done. And he had his own logo on the Nike stuff, too, for all those years. He did Phil Knight some good, and Tiger's done very well. And you walk around and you watch these tournaments and you see people walking behind the ropes. Everybody had their Nike stuff on and the red and black Tiger stuff. Things happen and things change. So, but there's a few other guys that stepped away from Nike too. So
do you think Tiger could ever be somewhat back to normal? Not normal, but like good enough to like compete enough?
Everything that guy's been through with the back surgeries, and then now he's good. He got that ankle surgery he had 8 months ago, and he walked. He could have took a cart with that thing when he played with Charlie, but They're talking about him playing next month. So, and walking. So, and he's not one. He's already said if they gave me a cart, he said I wouldn't take it because some people can get exemptions to carts when they get older, but you're not supposed to. The PGA is not allowed, carts. But he looks a lot better and he looks healthy. So let's hope. He's been good for the game of golf. He's brought the game of golf to where it is, and there's a lot of young up and coming guys coming up, and it's good to see him back. It really is.
Same here, same here. So now the last two stories we have for our YouTube show here on the Fire Sports Pod. I know you're not a big basketball guy, but you definitely have heard of the Draymond Green situation, where he was suspended indefinitely from the NBA, and now he's supposed to be coming back by next week, I believe. But Adam Silver, Draymond did say Adam Silver helped him from not retiring.
Yeah, I saw that.
He was thinking about retiring. So what are your thoughts, Tom, on Draymond Green? Do you think that he should play in the NBA, or do you think that the way he's been doing over his history of doing this stuff to people, do you think that he should just hang up the ropes? What are your thoughts? I believe that he's great for the game. I think he should stay, but I just hope that he changes his attitude, his mindset.
He has to, Zach. You know as well as I do. This stuff's been going on with years for him. I saw that whole incident when it happened. I've seen other things he's done. He's got to reel himself in. We've all made mistakes and done things that we wish we couldn't have done, but he's done it a few too many times, and it's kind of an embarrassment because, again, you know me, I'm a big team guy. You're taking away. I don't know what their record is since he's been gone, but you're taking away from your team. You're taking away from your organization. You're getting paid a lot of money. Go out and behave. I don't know. I just don't. There comes a point in time when you got to draw the line, and it was nice that Adam Silver's talking him back, but especially after all the stuff he's done.
Exactly.
There's been a point in time when you got to be held accountable for your actions, and I think he's got away with a lot of stuff over the years.
I do agree with that. Now another one that we have to say is that Ja Morant came back from the 25-game suspension. I know you've heard about that with he showed the gun on 2 Instagram Live occasions, and they basically went behind the back of Adam Silver and did it again. Now he's out for the season with torn labrum in his shoulder. So do you think all this bull crap that he had to go through, and then just to have a tear, like, was it worth it for him to go through all this crap and then to come back? Because you know why he got injured? Because he was out of shape. He wasn't in basketball shape. He was playing 9 games or so, and he was playing phenomenal, putting all the wear and tear on his body out of nowhere. You could be working out all you want. You could be with the team all you want. But playing NBA basketball for that much time,
2 different things.
It's a different animal. It's a different game. You got to be accustomed to that. So I believe that had a role in why he got a team late. What are your thoughts?
Didn't even know about it till the other day. I knew he was playing. I see ESPN every morning in the excerpts from the games, but I didn't even know what happened or how it happened. Was it a play? Did he get hit?
No, he was in a workout on Saturday, and he just messed it up, and he thought it was just a little strain, but it happened to be, went to an MRI, and then it came back that he had a teared labrum, and he's out for the season.
It's a shame. It's again, there's another one, but he was held accountable. I got to give Mr. Silver some credit there because the instances that went on, he was definitely held accountable for his actions. And,
yes.
Again, it's a shame he got hurt. He came back. He was doing okay. Was hoping the guy doesn't get in any trouble again, but he got hurt. What are you going to do?
Exactly. You really can't do nothing about it. Now, the last one we have the Warriors guard. I don't know if you've heard of this, but Chris Paul, he's out for 4 to 6 weeks with a fractured hand and needs surgery. So he'll be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks. How crazy is that Chris Paul, the older guy, he always gets injured. Like, this is his thing. Every year that he's on either not on a different team, but every year he's expected to do well, he gets injured. Last year, the year before that. Like, it's every year. Even his Clipper days with DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, Crawford, Barnes, and all them boys that was supposed to win the championship, they never did because every freaking time he got hurt. Against Golden State with Houston, he got hurt in Game 6 when James Harden needed him the most.
Yeah,
and he's never there. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think Chris Paul should hang it up? Because it seems like every freaking year he gets hurt and he can't help his team out of
Well, it's getting to a point where you got to make that decision. The only thing I can say right now is it's not a good thing that he got hurt, obviously. You don't want to see a guy get hurt. But on the other hand, they're getting Draymond back. So it kind of might fill that void somewhat for them. I don't watch, like you say, enough basketball, but the timing of this whole thing and getting Draymond back, should help the situation. I've noticed, like what you're saying, where Chris Paul comes up with injuries. But look at all these guys, Zach, for years. It's gotten worse. I'm old school. Bird, Johnson, Reem, McHale, Parrish, the Detroit Pistons back in the day. Those guys played, their finger could be hanging off and they played. And these guys here, too many games back to back and everything else with the kind of money they're making. So,
exactly.
I don't want to say I feel bad for him. It's a shame that anybody gets hurt. But Chris Paul has had a lot of injuries over his career.
Yeah, man, that's been his downfall. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it for my YouTube show here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we do here is fire. You guys know the drill. I appreciate Tom for coming on for this show. It lasted a bit longer than I thought it was going to, but hey, we still got the show and it was a great show. Again, Tom, I appreciate you coming on this Wednesday night. Last words you want to say before I end the show?
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And anytime you need me, I'm here, Zach. Always a pleasure.
All right, cool. So, Tom, just stay on. We'll talk after. But, guys, I am starting a landscaping business. So if you guys want to take a picture of it, I'm going to have my business cards coming in tomorrow. This is my flyers. I will be handing it out all over the place in New Jersey, around Bergen County. So you guys should definitely check it out. I do handyman services, landscaping, all that. My phone number is right there, my address, and my email. So get that down if you guys need some help with any landscaping or handyman services. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much it for my YouTube show here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we do here is fire. Thanks again for Tom coming on. And I'm your host, Zach Jackson. This is my guest host, Tom Phillips. And peace out.
Have a good night, everyone.